So it is cold, it is rainy, and it is miserable conditions, but what better time to test out Global Ordnance's new Monolith pistol. Welcome back to OG's Danger Show.
0 North Mont, Department 4, open 9119. Any Halbeck units at 21779 and RD 457.
Okay.
Well, it took them a minute, but Global Ordnance out in Sarasota, Florida, recently sent me their all-new Monolith AR pistol. Now, I fondled the prototype of this gun last year at SHOT Show, and I was shocked at how light this little bastard was. I got on Global Ordnance's Cool Kid list, and they agreed to send me one around March or April of 2024. Well, that time frame came and went faster than the Hawk-Tua girl. And before you knew it, they were telling me it would be sometime around the end of April or early May because they were having some delivery issues with their rifles and pistols. So in July, I got a big shipment of ammunition, the ADI ammunition that Global Ordnance imports from Australia. They sent me a lot of 69 grain and 55 grain ADI 5.56 ammo. So I knew that I was on their list to test this thing, but I just didn't see the gun yet. Now, since a lot of Florida was washed or blown off the map in the late summer, I figured I would shut the hell up about my personal AR-15 problems and let Global Ordnance shovel the fish out of their factory before I got back to them. Now, in early October, I reminded them that I had a huge stash of their ammo, and they must have remembered who I was because the very next morning, I had an invoice on my email saying that they were shipping me one of their Monolith pistols. So, it's another AR pistol. Big whoop, OG. You better show me something nice, dance for me, entertain me, or I'm going to dip out and go watch some Taylor Swift documentaries. Well, when I pulled the thing out of the box at the gun store, I thought Global Ordnance had forgot to include the bolt and bolt carrier group because the thing was just so damn light. Well, all the parts were actually included, but this just happened to be a very light little bastard. The first thing you notice is the pronounced muzzle brake protruding from the 9.5-inch M-LOK handguard. The brake has these giant ports on both sides, and I already knew the dirty little secret behind it. You see, the whole thing that makes the Monolith, well, monolithic, is the single-piece barrel. The brake, the barrel, the gas block, and the barrel extension, all the way back to the chamber, is just all one piece. Now, I don't know the first thing about machining. I am baffled by how they can even come up with such a thing. But trust me, I have looked long and hard. Although this muzzle brake almost looks like it's been screwed on because there's a difference in textures between the polished bluing or anodizing or whatever that is there and the matte black tip of this brake. There is no seams in there. It is all one piece. The barrel's milled out of one single piece of 41 V50 bar stock. The gas block, which is milled right in there, is adjustable, and the little gas tube here has a 45-degree angle on it. Big deal, you say. What does a one-piece barrel do that my regular AR-15 can't do with 3 pieces? Well, first, it's obviously more simple. It's just simpler. All one piece means there's fewer parts to rattle loose, come loose, or replace down the road. Now, fewer parts means better reliability. That's just science. Now, Global Ordnance also says that it makes for better concentricity, and I think that's just a fancy Latin word that means that the barrel can't get pregnant. But it also keeps a suppressor perfectly aligned with the barrel, which prevents baffle strikes. And while this isn't a common issue out there, I can appreciate the simplicity of this design. So the muzzle brake is machined right into the barrel, as we've discussed, but Global Ordnance went a step further. Farther? Further? Farther? I don't know. I just barely learn English. Well, they went above and beyond by having the dead air silencer's chemo suppressor interface milled right into this muzzle brake. So it's all one piece, no need for anything pinned and welded on the end of this barrel. You can attach one of Dead Air Silencer's Sandman series of cans, but you can actually slap on any suppressor that has that chemo interface. And for you whiners out there that don't want your attachment points dictated to you, Global Ordnance is rumored to be working on a direct thread brake, Once again, this will be offered milled right into the solid one-piece barrel. So watch for that. Did I mention this barrel is a 1 in 7 twist? No, I didn't? Well, good. I'm not going to mention it. I'm going to leave that up to you. You're going to count how many times your bullet spins on its way down range. Now, Global Ordnance wraps their innovative barrel in this 9.5-inch aluminum M-LOK fore-end, not a barrel shroud. Now, the barrel inside has been thermo-locked, which is a fancy term that Global Ordnance uses for a heat treating process by which the barrel is heated up and then pressed into the receiver, and then as the barrel cools, it locks itself into the receiver, and this eliminates any need for a barrel nut or any possibility of it wiggling or working itself loose over time. Now, you're going to notice something weird here on the left side of the receiver. You're going to see this fold-down charging handle that is commonplace with a lot of these bufferless rifle systems. The charging handle is non-reciprocating, meaning, just like your junk, it just sits there after you tug on it. It doesn't fly back and forth. It's not going to bang into your little fingies and injure you.
I don't get too freaked out about this charging handle because you only use it really the very first time of the day. After that, you've got a locked open bolt, and it's just a matter of releasing that bolt from here on the left side of the receiver. So the charging handle hasn't given me any problems, and I really have come to like left side charging handles.
The handle folds out of the way, and the entire thing is actually a single rod wrapped in a spring that charges the gun by pulling back on the bolt. So here's where things get even more interesting. Again, it turns out that Foxtrot Mike in Boise, Idaho makes this gun for Global Ordnance. Global Ordnance has always been an importer of firearms and ammunition from all over the world, but this is the first firearm that comes from Global Ordnance with their logo branded right here on the receiver. A while ago, I tested the Foxtrot Mike Ranch rifle that uses the exact same charging handle design, that single rod wrapped in a spring. I mentioned in that review that the rod and spring felt a little crunchy when you pull them back, but other than that feeling, the Foxtrot Mike charging handle system has always worked, and it continues to work on this AR pistol. I used it a few times during my range sessions to do chamber checks for live rounds, and it worked just fine. I've been doing a lot of reviews lately on bufferless style rifles, and I'm really coming to like that side charging handle design better than the little forked charging handle design that we've all grown up with. The brake that's machined into this mono barrel has a sealed taper design forward of the Chemo locking channels. And all this means that you're very unlikely to have your suppressor carbon lock onto the brake due to heat. And since it's all one piece, there's really no need for any pinning or welding anything. The Monolith has a bufferless recoil system. That's how it gets by with this folding brace on the back instead of a traditional buffer tube and rifle stock. The charging handle pulls back this short little bolt and the bolt carrier system against this double recoil spring. Now here's something that's pretty cool. Check out these oversized lugs on this bolt. Now that's overbuilt, and it's bound to be tougher and last longer in this short little gun. Global Ordnance provides you with an extra set of standard recoil springs and a spare set of suppressor weight springs. Did I mention this little thing was loud? I mean, holy crap, it's loud. But standard ear pro was adequate out there. I just put it on and used it with this little pistol, but don't ever try and shoot this thing without ear pro. And while it was awfully loud, it was still more enjoyable than even 5 minutes of the view.
Everybody stop! Hold up!
I took this little pistol out to the abandoned Indian burial grounds to really run it through its paces. And I first noticed that it had a unique recoil. And that's probably due to that short little bolt bouncing against those springs in there. The recoil is light, and it felt different than any basic AR or even AR pistol that I've ever tried. Now, I expected there'd be a little bit of a recoil thump on a AR pistol that's so light like this, but this little beast was a pleasure to shoot. It was actually really fun. I couldn't get over how short and light and maneuverable this little AR pistol was. I was working shots in between multiple targets and able just to zap them over and over and over again with this light little maneuverable package. But even more surprising, it was as accurate as a full-size rifle. I was able to quickly transition between multiple targets and get reliable hits, but then I ran out to a hillside that I later measured out on GPS at 164 yards. And I was making about 75% of those hits. Now remember, these steel targets are smaller than the huge targets we normally shoot at. They're reduced size steel targets that are just slightly bigger than an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. I was also shooting an AR pistol and using a Hollow Sun red dot. The red dot at 164 yards more or less covers that entire target, and there's a lot of estimating and guessing as to where that round's going to hit. But I'm pretty happy with a 75% hit ratio from 164 yards with an AR pistol. Now, as I mentioned, Global Ordnance sent me a lot of this ADI imported Australian ammo in 223 Remington. This 69 grain Sierra Match King is labeled as an HPBT, hollow point boat tail. Jesus, everything's backwards in Australia. Sorry, Johnny.
All right, the point of this exercise is for you guys to listen. I'm going to put rounds on those two steel targets down there at 100 yards away. Steel gongs right there and there. Bink, bink, bink. Listen for the ping.
Now, when I went out to the range, I took with me a basket full of magazines. There were all types of magazines in this basket. I had 29 plus 1 round magazines, YouTube, Magpul magazines. I also ran military aluminum magazines, short steel magazines, Magpul curved magazines, Magpul straight wall magazines, pretty much every type of magazine that you could use in a rifle or pistol. And this thing fed reliably from every single one of them. Hey, since we're on the topic of magazines, check out these really cool P-Mags that a viewer in Oklahoma sent me. This was really cool. I opened up the mail one day, unexpected, and found this package from M. Thomas. Might be Mark, might be Mike, might be Maddie, might be Mortimer. But M. Thomas sent me these 3 laser-engraved Magpul magazines with the OG's Danger Show logo. That's pretty badass. Thank you very much, sir. I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but the Monolith AR pistol and AR rifle have ambidextrous everything. They have an ambidextrous bolt hold open, ambidextrous mag release, and safety, and it makes this gun easy to run, even for you East Coast guys. And here's a cool feature. Although not completely unique to the Monolith, you can insert a magazine on an empty chamber, and you can press down on the dust cover to release the bolt. Now, after years and years and years of muscle memory and training, I found myself using the left side bolt release with my thumb, but it's nice to have those options. It's a cool extra feature. The flat trigger that comes standard on the Monolith AR pistol breaks at around 4 pounds 6 ounces. I was getting between 4 pounds 6 ounces, 4 pounds 11 ounces, and that's about the time my Lyman digital trigger gauge broke. I couldn't even get the screen to come up. It was just flickering. So I shit-canned the thing, and within seconds I had a new one ordered using Patreon money. So thank you very much to my Patreon supporters. A new digital trigger gauge is on the way to the Danger Studio. Now the Monolith obviously comes with this 9.5-inch aluminum forend that has M-LOK slots all over it. It also comes with a full-length piece of Picatinny rail all the way across the top. Now this Picatinny rail is not technically monolithic. It's not all one piece, but the handguard mates up with the receiver in a locking fashion that prevents any type of wiggling between the two. Moving back, the pistol grip is by B5 Systems, and I really like the angle of this pistol grip. It just gives a better shooting angle than the A2 pistol grip that comes on a traditional rifle and even most Magpul MOE plastic furniture. So when I pulled this Global Ordnance Monolith AR pistol out of its box at the gun store, it was equipped already from the factory with this SB Tactical folding brace. Good plan. However, OG can screw up anything. The detent on this brace was so stiff and so strong against that spring that as I was knocking it into the folded position, it actually broke the little claw that grabs onto the Picatinny rail, broke it right off, completely broke the piece, and the little screw down in there is broken. So use a little more tact than OG. I had to come back to the studio, and fortunately I had another brace up here on the shelf made by Strike Industries that allows me to fold the brace out of the way. OG, can you fire it with the brace closed to the right side of the firearm? Yes, you can. But with this folded brace, this thing is a nice compact little package. Folded, it's 21.5 inches, and deployed, it's only 29.5 inches. So it's a nice compact little package for stowing behind the seat of your truck, Global Ordnance lists this AR pistol barrel at 12.6 inches. But I think the actual barrel portion is more like 11.5 inches, because remember, this breakout here, which is all milled into the same piece of bar stock, takes up about 1 inch of that. So for a very compact, light, very sturdy, reliable little AR pistol that you can take just about anywhere with you, you just about can't go wrong with this new Monolith from Global Ordnance. So if you're in the market for any kind of an AR pistol, or a second AR pistol, or a fourth or fifth AR pistol, you might want to check out Global Ordnance and try out this new monolithic barrel. I think you guys are going to be impressed, and I'm really liking this side charging handle design. Overall, just a great little package. Really fun to shoot. Hey, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up down below. If you didn't like it, who asked you? Keep your mouth shut. All right, you guys stay safe out there. Stay armed whenever and wherever you can. And until next video, OG out.